The cargo ship made a soft humming sound as it docked at Meridian Hub. Taeyang stretched his arms and yawned. Another long flight, another delivery completed. He grabbed his small bag and walked toward the exit. The station was huge, much bigger than any place he had seen on Earth. Aliens of all kinds walked past him. Some had scales, some had fur, and some looked like they were made of light itself. Taeyang joined the line at the immigration checkpoint. He was tired and just wanted to find a hotel and sleep. The line moved slowly. Aliens in front of him showed their identification chips to the clerks at the desk. Everything seemed normal and boring. When his turn came, Taeyang walked up to the counter. Behind the desk sat a young alien woman. She was tall and thin, with skin that glowed softly like moonlight. Her eyes were large and silver. Taeyang recognized her species from his training videos. She was Valari, one of the peaceful races in the Galactic Coalition. "Hello," Taeyang said with a friendly smile. "Here for a supply drop. Just staying one night." The Valari woman nodded quietly. She looked tired, like she had been working for many hours. Her hands moved slowly as she reached for his identification chip. Taeyang placed it on the scanner between them. The machine beeped. Information appeared on her screen. The Valari woman glanced at it casually, then froze. Her silver eyes went wide. Her mouth opened slightly. She stared at the screen, then at Taeyang, then back at the screen. "Is something wrong?" Taeyang asked. He felt confused. His papers were all correct. Earth had checked everything before he left. The woman's hands started shaking. She gripped the edge of her desk. Her breathing became fast and loud. Other aliens in line began to notice. They whispered to each other and pointed. "Miss, are you okay?" Taeyang leaned forward, worried now. The Valari woman looked up at him. Tears filled her silver eyes. Her whole body trembled. She tried to say something, but only a small sound came out. Then, without warning, she collapsed. Her legs gave out and she fell to her knees behind the desk. The sound echoed through the quiet checkpoint. Taeyang's heart jumped. "Hey, someone help!" He started to move around the desk to help her, but 2 security guards appeared instantly. They were large aliens with thick armor and serious faces. "Step back," one guard shouted. He was a reptilian creature with dark green scales. His hand moved to the weapon on his belt. "I didn't do anything." Taeyang raised his hands. "She just fell. I think she's sick." But the guard wasn't listening. He was staring at Taeyang's identification chip, which was still on the scanner. The guard's eyes widened too. He took a step back. The other guard, a blue-skinned alien with 4 arms, spoke quickly into a communication device. "We need medical here, and we need the captain. Right now." More security arrived within seconds. They surrounded Taeyang. None of them touched him, but they all kept their distance. They looked at him the way someone might look at a bomb that could explode any moment. Behind the desk, the Valari woman was crying. 2 medical personnel were trying to help her stand, but she kept looking at Taeyang. She was whispering something in her own language. The words sounded sad and scared at the same time. "What's going on?" Taeyang asked loudly. "Why is everyone acting like this?" No one answered him. The aliens in line had backed away. Some were taking pictures with their devices. Others were talking urgently to each other. Taeyang heard words he didn't understand, but one phrase kept repeating. "Death Worlder." A tall alien pushed through the crowd. She wore a captain's uniform with many badges. Her species looked like a mix between a lizard and a bird, with dark red scales and sharp eyes. She walked straight to the scanner and looked at Taeyang's information. Her face didn't show emotion, but her tail moved back and forth quickly. "You," she said, pointing at Taeyang. "Come with me now." "But I didn't do anything wrong," Taeyang protested. "My papers are legal. Earth gave them to me." "We will discuss this in private," the captain said. Her voice was hard and cold. "You can walk with us or we can carry you. Choose." Taeyang looked around. Every alien was staring at him with fear or shock. The Valari woman was still crying, still whispering. He felt confused and scared, but also angry. He came here to deliver supplies, not to be treated like a criminal. "Fine," he said quietly. "I'll come with you," the captain nodded. She turned and walked toward a secure door. The security guards formed a circle around Taeyang, keeping distance but watching his every move. As they walked, aliens in the station moved out of the way. Some pressed themselves against walls. Parents pulled their children behind them. Taeyang kept his hands visible and moved slowly. His mind raced with questions. What did that woman see on his identification? Why did she react that way? What was a death worlder? He had passed through 3 other stations before this one, and nobody had acted strange. They entered a white hallway with bright lights. The doors closed behind them with a heavy sound. The captain walked ahead without looking back. The security guards stayed around Taeyang, their hands always near their weapons. Finally, they reached a small room. The captain gestured for Taeyang to enter. He did, and she followed. The guards stayed outside, but Taeyang could see them through the clear door. They stood ready, watching. The room had a table and 2 chairs. Nothing else. The captain sat down and pointed to the other chair. Taeyang sat carefully. He put his hands on the table where she could see them. "My name is Captain Nira," the alien said. "I command security for this sector of Meridian Hub." "I'm Lee Taeyang," he replied. "Cargo pilot from Earth, license number E." "I know who you are," Nira interrupted. She placed a small device on the table. It showed his identification information. "What I want to know is why you are here. Why a Death Worlder is traveling through Coalition space alone. Why you are pretending to be a normal civilian." "I'm not pretending anything," Taeyang said, his voice rising. "I am a normal civilian. I deliver cargo. That's my job." Nira stared at him for a long moment. Then she did something that confused Taeyang even more. She laughed. But it wasn't a happy laugh. It was the kind of laugh someone makes when they can't believe what they're seeing. "Normal?" she repeated. "You? From Earth?" She turned the device around so Taeyang could see his own information. Most of it looked familiar. His name, his age, his job, his home planet. But next to Earth, there were red symbols flashing. Taeyang couldn't read the alien text, but he understood warning colors. "Do you even know what your planet is classified as?" Nira asked. Taeyang shook his head slowly. A cold feeling spread through his chest. Captain Nira leaned forward. Her sharp eyes locked onto his. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper, but every word hit like a hammer. "Your Earth is a Class 12 death world, one of the most dangerous planets in known space. And you, Lee Taeyang?" She paused, and for the first time Taeyang saw something like fear in her eyes. "You are biologically classified as an apex predator." Taeyang stared at Captain Nira. The words didn't make sense. Apex predator? Death world? He delivered boxes from one place to another. He liked pizza and old movies. How could he be dangerous? "There must be a mistake," Taeyang said slowly. "Earth is just Earth. It's normal to me." Nira's tail swished again. She tapped the device and a new screen appeared. It showed charts and numbers. Everything was marked in red or yellow. Nothing was green. "Let me explain something," Nira said. She pointed at the first chart. "This shows the gravity of habitable planets in the Coalition. The average is 0.3 Earth standard. Your planet's gravity is 3 times higher than what most species can survive." Taeyang blinked. He knew Earth's gravity was measured differently than other planets, but he never thought it was special. It was just gravity. Things fell down. What was strange about that? Nira continued, pointing to another chart. "This is atmospheric composition. Your oxygen levels would kill 70% of Coalition species within hours. It's too reactive, too corrosive. We need special equipment just to breathe what you breathe every day." "But it's just air," Taeyang said weakly. "Just air that burns," Nira corrected. "And your weather patterns." She pulled up images of Earth. Taeyang saw hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, things he had seen on the news back home. "Your planet has storms that move at speeds we use for industrial cutting tools. Your temperature ranges from freezing to boiling across seasons. Your tectonic plates shift constantly, causing earthquakes and volcanoes. Tell me, Lee Taeyang, how is this normal?" Taeyang opened his mouth but couldn't find words. He had never thought about Earth that way. Yes, there were storms. Yes, there were hot and cold places. But people lived there. Billions of people. They built cities and farms and families. "And then there's you," Nira said quietly. She pulled up his biological scan. Taeyang saw his own skeleton on the screen. His muscles, his organs, everything looked normal to him. But Nira pointed at different parts. "Your bone density is 5 times higher than mine. Your muscles can exert force that would require mechanical assistance for most species. Your immune system," she paused, "your immune system is a weapon. The bacteria and viruses on your planet are so aggressive that your body had to evolve to fight a war every single day." "I don't feel like I'm fighting anything," Taeyang said. "Exactly," Nira replied. You don't feel it because that's normal for you. But if any of Earth's common diseases got loose on this station, we would have a plague that could kill thousands before we developed a cure. The cold feeling in Taeyang's chest grew worse. He thought about home, his mother tending her garden, his sister walking to university, his friend Doyen playing soccer in the park. Were they all dangerous too? A knock came at the door. Captain Nira looked up and nodded. The door opened. The Valari woman from the checkpoint stood there. She had stopped crying, but her eyes were still red and puffy. She looked at Taeyang and flinched slightly. This is Lisara, Nira said. She is the clerk who processed your identification. She asked to speak with you. Lisara walked into the room slowly. She sat in a chair against the wall as far from Taeyang as possible. Her hands twisted together in her lap. She took a deep breath before speaking. I apologize for my reaction, she said softly. Her voice was musical, like wind chimes. It was unprofessional. It's okay, Taeyang said quickly. Are you feeling better? Lisara nodded but didn't look at him. I need to explain why I fell. She took another breath. Last year I was part of a research team. We were studying plants on a newly discovered planet. The planet was classified as Class 9, not as dangerous as your Earth, but still a death world. Taeyang noticed her hands were shaking again. We wore protective suits. We followed all safety rules. But something went wrong. A small tear in one researcher's suit. The atmosphere got in, then the local bacteria. Lisara's voice became quieter. He died in 3 hours. We tried to save him, but nothing worked. His body couldn't fight the infection. I'm sorry, Taeyang said. He meant it. He could hear the pain in her voice. Then the weather changed, Lisara continued. A storm came. Not a big storm, according to the planet's data. But the wind was too strong. Our shelter collapsed. 4 more of my team died. Crushed. The rescue team took 2 days to reach us because the storm was too dangerous for ships to land. 2 days of sitting with the bodies of my friends. The room was silent. Taeyang felt sick. He understood now why she had cried. She had seen what death worlds could do. When I saw your identification, Lisara said, finally looking at him. When I saw that you were from a Class 12 world, I thought about my friends. I thought about what they went through on a Class 9. And you live on something worse. Every day. Without protective suits. Without fear. She shook her head. I couldn't understand it. I still can't. What kind of species survives that? We're not special, Taeyang said. We're just people. We don't know anything else. Earth is home. That's what makes it frightening, Captain Nira said. You don't understand how dangerous you are. To you, surviving Earth is normal. But to us, you are like living weapons that don't know they're weapons. Taeyang felt his anger rising again. I'm not a weapon. I've never hurt anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone. I believe you, Lisara said quietly. But your biology doesn't care about your intentions. If you sneezed wrong, you could give someone a disease they can't fight. If you bumped into someone too hard, you could break their bones. If you panicked and pushed someone away, you could kill them by accident. So what? Taeyang stood up quickly. The chair scraped against the floor. Both Nira and Lisara tensed. He realized they were scared of him. He sat back down slowly, carefully. So what do you want me to do? Go home, never leave Earth? That's not my decision, Captain Nira said. But you must understand the situation. Humans have only been in the coalition for 50 years. Most species have never met a human in person. They only know what the data tells them, and the data says humans are dangerous. We sent messages, Taeyang said. Earth sent all our information when we joined. We were honest about everything. Yes, Nira agreed. But data on a screen is different from a living human standing in front of you. Until today, Lisara had never met a death worlder. She only knew the fear from her experience. Many others on this station are the same. Taeyang put his head in his hands. This was supposed to be a simple delivery job. Drop off supplies, rest for a night, go home. Now he was apparently a monster that scared everyone just by existing. What happens now? He asked. Captain Nira and Lisara looked at each other. Some unspoken communication passed between them. Now, Nira said, you wait here while I contact your Earth government. They need to know about this incident, and we need to decide what to do about you. I'm not a criminal, Taeyang said. No, Nira agreed. But you are a problem. A complicated, dangerous problem. She stood and walked to the door. Lysara stood too, but she hesitated. She looked at Taeyang one more time. "I don't think you're a monster," she said quietly. "I think you're just someone who doesn't realize how terrifying your normal really is." Then she left. The door closed. Through the clear wall, Taeyang could see the guard still watching. He was alone in the white room, sitting in a chair, wondering how his life had become so strange. Outside, he heard voices. Aliens were gathering. He heard the word human repeated many times. Some voices sounded scared. Others sounded excited. A few sounded angry. Taeyang looked at his hands. They looked normal to him. Just hands. He had fixed engines with these hands. He had hugged his mother with these hands. He had helped Doyen move furniture with these hands. But apparently to the rest of the galaxy these hands were dangerous. 3 hours passed before Captain Nira returned. She looked tired. Behind her came another human woman. Taeyang nearly jumped from his chair in relief at seeing another person from Earth. "Ambassador Cho Yuna," the woman said, extending her hand. She was in her 50s with short black hair and a professional suit. "I represent Earth's interests on Meridian Hub." Taeyang shook her hand, grateful for the familiar gesture. "Thank you for coming." "I don't understand what's happening." Yuna sat down across from him. Captain Nira stood by the door. "I know you're confused," Yuna said. "This happens more often than you'd think. New human travelers arrive at stations, show their identification, and suddenly everyone panics. We're working on better education programs, but it takes time." "So I can leave?" Taeyang asked hopefully. Yuna's expression became sad. "Not exactly. The situation has become complicated." Word spread through the station very quickly. There are protesters outside demanding that humans be restricted to specific areas. There are also media outlets requesting interviews with you, and the station administration wants you to stay while they review their security protocols. "This is insane," Taeyang said, his voice rising. "I'm just a cargo pilot. I'm nobody important." "To them, you're the first human many of them have ever seen in person," Yuna explained. "You represent all of Earth right now, whether you want to or not." Captain Nira spoke up. "The situation is being managed, but we need to relocate you to better quarters. This room was never meant for long-term holding." They moved Taeyang to a larger room with a bed, a bathroom, and a window. The window showed the main plaza of the station. Taeyang could see crowds of aliens gathered there. Some held signs with symbols he couldn't read. Others were taking pictures of the building where he was staying. "Try to rest," Yuna said. "I'll work on getting you cleared to leave as soon as possible. In the meantime, don't go outside alone. If you need anything, ask the guards." After Yuna left, Taeyang sat on the bed and pulled out his communication device. He had messages from home. His sister Nari had sent 3 messages asking if he was okay. His mother Jiwoo had sent a picture of her garden with a message saying she missed him. His friend Doyen had sent a silly video of himself trying to cook. Taeyang smiled at the video. Doyen was terrible at cooking. The kitchen behind him looked like a disaster. But he was laughing and having fun. It seemed so normal. So human. A knock came at the door. Taeyang looked up. Through the door's window, he saw Lysara standing there. She held a tray of food. The guards let her in. "I brought you dinner," she said quietly. "I thought you might be hungry. I asked the human ambassador what foods were safe for you." "Thank you," Taeyang said, surprised. The food looked strange but smelled good. Some kind of grain dish with vegetables. He took a bite. It was bland but edible. Lysara stood awkwardly near the door. She seemed like she wanted to say something but didn't know how. "You can sit," Taeyang offered, pointing to a chair. She hesitated, then sat. She was careful to keep distance between them. "I wanted to apologize again," she said. "And I wanted to understand. About humans. About you. What do you want to know?" Taeyang asked. "Everything," Lysara said. "I've been reading about Earth since this morning. But reading data and talking to someone are different things. The data says Earth has dangerous predators. It says humans hunt these predators. Is that true?" Taeyang thought about it. "Well, we used to. Ancient humans hunted for food. Now most of us just buy food from stores. But some people still hunt. It's more like a sport or tradition now." Lysara's eyes widened. "A sport? You hunt deadly creatures for fun?" "They're not that deadly," Taeyang tried to explain. "I mean, they can be dangerous if you're careless. But humans have weapons and knowledge. We know how to be safe." "What kind of creatures?" Lysara asked. Taeyang pulled up his device and showed her pictures from Earth. "These are deer. They're pretty common. Some people hunt them. Or bears, though that's rarer. Or birds like ducks and geese. Lysara looked at the pictures. She pointed at the deer. That creature weighs more than I do. And you're saying it's not dangerous? Well, male deer have antlers, Taeyang admitted. Those can hurt you if you're not careful. But mostly they just run away from humans. They run from you, Lysara repeated slowly. The prey on your planet runs from you because you're the greater threat. Taeyang never thought about it that way. I guess so. Lysara was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, Can you show me your family? Ambassador Cho mentioned you have family on Earth. Taeyang smiled and opened his photo gallery. He showed her pictures of his mother in her garden. Jiwoo was kneeling in the dirt planting flowers. She was smiling at the camera. This is my mother, Taeyang said warmly. She loves gardening. She grows vegetables and flowers. Lysara leaned closer to look at the picture. Then she tensed. She's touching the soil with her bare hands, no gloves. No protection. Why would she need protection? Taeyang asked, confused. The soil on Death Worlds contains aggressive microorganisms, Lysara explained. They can enter through the skin, cause infections. Your mother is directly exposing herself to potentially lethal bacteria. But it's just dirt, Taeyang said. It's good dirt. It helps plants grow. My mother has been gardening for 30 years and she's perfectly healthy. Lysara stared at the picture like it was evidence of something impossible. Taeyang showed her the next photo. His sister Nari at university standing outside a large building with her friends. This is my sister, Taeyang said. She studies biology. She wants to be a researcher like you. How old is she? Lysara asked. 21, Taeyang answered. And she lives in that gravity? Lysara pointed at the building. She walks around, carries books, climbs stairs in 3 times normal gravity. She doesn't think about it, Taeyang said. None of us do. It's just how things are. He showed more pictures. Doyen rock climbing on a weekend trip. His uncle Hansel fishing in a river. His cousin Minji playing soccer. Each picture made Lysara more and more amazed and horrified. Your friend climbs rocks without safety equipment, she said, pointing at Doyen. If he falls from that height in your gravity, he would die. He has ropes, Taeyang pointed out. See? He's being safe. That thin rope is supposed to stop a fall? Lysara shook her head. And this? She pointed at Hansel. He's standing in water. Natural water with unknown organisms. He's fishing, which means he's trying to catch creatures with his hands. With a pole, Taeyang corrected. It's relaxing. It's peaceful. Your peaceful is my nightmare, Lysara said quietly. Taeyang put his device away. He felt frustrated. I don't know how to explain it. To me, these are just normal activities. My family isn't brave or special. They're just living their lives. Earth isn't trying to kill us every second. It's just home. But it is trying to kill you, Lysara insisted. Every second. Your body is fighting bacteria right now. Your bones are resisting gravity that would crush mine. Your lungs are processing oxygen that would burn my throat. You just don't notice because you've never known anything different. They sat in silence for a while. Taeyang ate more of the food. It really was very bland. He missed his mother's cooking. He missed spicy kimchi and grilled meat. He wondered if the spices humans used would be considered toxic to aliens too. Can I ask you something? Taeyang said finally. Lysara nodded. Why are you here? Why are you trying to understand? This morning you were crying and scared. Now you're sitting here talking to me. What changed? Lysara looked at her hands. I was scared because I didn't understand. I saw the data and I saw my memories of death and I combined them. But then I watched you through the cameras. You were sitting in that white room looking confused and sad. You weren't acting like a predator. You weren't threatening anyone. You were just a person who was scared and alone. She looked up at him. And I realized something. I survived a Class 9 death world by using equipment and safety rules. But you survive a Class 12 with nothing. No equipment. No special protection, just you. That's not evil or monstrous. That's actually incredible. Terrifying, yes, but also amazing. Taeyang felt something warm in his chest. It was the first time since this morning that someone looked at him without pure fear. Thank you, he said quietly. Ambassador Yuna returned the next morning with news. She didn't look happy. Behind her was Captain Nira and 2 members of the Galactic Council. They were important-looking aliens with formal robes and serious expressions. The situation has escalated, Yuna said without sitting down. The protests have grown. More species are demanding restrictions on human travel. Some want all humans banned from certain stations. Others want quarantine protocols. The council needs to make a decision. What kind of decision? Taeyang asked. He had barely slept. All night he heard the crowds outside chanting things he couldn't understand. One of the council members stepped forward. He was tall and blue with 3 eyes that all focused on Taeyang. We have reviewed Earth's admission to the coalition. The data was available, but the reality was not understood. Now there is fear. Fear leads to conflict. We cannot allow conflict. So you're going to ban humans? Taeyang felt his anger rising again. Because people are scared of data they didn't bother to understand? No, the council member said. We are proposing a solution. A demonstration. You will participate in our standard physical assessment. The same tests we give to all security personnel in the coalition. If you perform within normal parameters, we will confirm that humans are not the threat many believe. The incident will be closed. You can continue your journey. Taeyang looked at Yuna. She had a worried expression. What's the catch? He asked. The catch is that the demonstration will be public, Yuna explained. It will be broadcast across multiple systems. You'll be representing all of humanity. If you do well, great. If you struggle, it shows humans are normal. But if you perform too well, she trailed off. If I perform too well, it proves everyone's fears are right. Taeyang finished. That humans are super strong death worlders who are dangerous. Exactly, Yuna said. It's a difficult position. You're being asked to prove you're normal while everyone already believes you're abnormal. Do I have a choice? Taeyang asked. Yes, the council member said. You can refuse. But then we cannot guarantee your safety on this station. The protesters are becoming aggressive. Some are calling for violence against humans. We can protect you, but not forever. Eventually, we will have to send you back to Earth, and the question of human travel will remain unresolved. Taeyang closed his eyes. He thought about his mother's garden, his sister's dreams of becoming a researcher. If humans got banned or restricted because of him, Nari might never get to study alien plants. She might never see the galaxy. Other humans who wanted to explore and learn and work would be trapped. I'll do it, he said. When? Tomorrow, the council member replied. That gives you time to prepare. Your ambassador has arranged for a military advisor from Earth to help you. After the council members left, another human entered the room. He was younger than Yuna, maybe in his early 30s, with a muscular build and short hair. He wore an Earth military uniform. Lieutenant Kang Minho, the man said, saluting. I'm stationed here as part of Earth's security liaison. The ambassador asked me to help you prepare. Taeyang had never been in the military. He felt awkward being saluted. I'm just a cargo pilot. I don't know anything about military stuff. That's fine, Minho said, sitting down. The tests are designed for civilians who want to join station security. They're not combat tests. They're basic assessments. Physical fitness, reaction time, problem solving under pressure. Things like that. What do I need to do? Taeyang asked. Minho pulled up a document on his device. I've reviewed the standard tests. There's an endurance run at what they call standard gravity. For them, standard gravity is 0.3. For you, it'll feel like you're running on the moon. Very light. So I should run slowly? Taeyang asked. That's the problem, Minho said. If you run too slowly, you'll look weak. If you run too fast, you'll look superhuman. You need to find a middle ground. Run at a pace that looks like you're trying, but not trying too hard. This is ridiculous, Taeyang muttered. I know, Minho agreed, but it's the situation we're in. The next test is a strength assessment. Lifting cargo. The standard weight is about 20 kilograms. For most coalition species, that's heavy. For you, that's nothing, Taeyang finished. I lift cargo heavier than that every day for work. Right. So you need to lift it like it's actually heavy. Make it look difficult. Maybe use both hands instead of one. Maybe act like you're straining a little. Taeyang felt sick. So I have to lie? Pretend to be weaker than I am? You have to perform at a level that won't terrify everyone, Minho said gently. Look, I understand it feels wrong, but think about it from their perspective. Imagine if a species showed up on Earth and could lift a car with one hand. Wouldn't that scare you? Taeyang thought about it. He supposed it would be frightening. What about the other tests? A reaction time test, Minho continued. This one is tricky. Human reaction time is naturally faster than most species. You can't really fake slow reactions without being obvious. Just do your best and hope it doesn't shock anyone too much. Great. Taeyang said sarcastically. The last test is a survival scenario, Minho said. They'll put you in a simulated hazardous environment. Based on what I've seen, it's usually extreme heat or cold. For them, extreme might be 30 degrees Celsius. That's a nice spring day, Taeyang said. Exactly. So don't take off your protective suit and start sunbathing. Even if you're hot, keep the suit on. Complain about the heat if you want. Just don't look comfortable. They spent the rest of the day practicing. Minho made Taeyang run in place, trying to find a pace that looked natural but not too fast. They practiced lifting boxes with exaggerated effort. Taeyang felt stupid making grunting sounds and pretending a light box was heavy, but Minho insisted it was necessary. Remember, Minho said seriously, you're not just doing this for yourself. Every human who wants to travel in space is depending on this going well. No pressure. That doesn't help, Taeyang said. That evening, Lysara visited again. She had been promoted to be Taeyang's official escort for the demonstration. I volunteered, she explained. I want to help. And I think having someone who was scared of you at first but isn't anymore might send a good message. Do you really believe I'll do okay? Taeyang asked. Lysara was quiet for a moment. I believe you'll try your best, but I'm worried. These tests were designed to challenge coalition species. For you, they might be too easy, and if they're too easy, people will panic. So I'm supposed to fail? Taeyang asked. No, Lysara said quickly. You're supposed to pass, but pass like a normal person, not like a Death Worlder. I am a Death Worlder, Taeyang pointed out. I know, Lysara said sadly. That's the problem. The night passed slowly. Taeyang tried to sleep but kept waking up. He thought about his mother, who never worried about touching dirt. He thought about Doyen, who climbed rocks for fun. He thought about all the humans on Earth who just lived their lives without knowing how strange they seemed to the galaxy. In the morning, Ambassador Yuna came to escort him to the testing arena. She looked professional but concerned. Remember what Lieutenant Minho taught you. Be careful. Be thoughtful. Don't show off. Don't try to impress anyone. Just pass the test at a normal level. Define normal, Taeyang said. Anything that doesn't make people scream and run away, Yuna replied. They walked through the station. Crowds had gathered along the route. Some aliens held signs supporting him. Others held signs that said things Taeyang couldn't read but suspected weren't friendly. Security kept everyone back, forming a clear path. The testing arena was large, with stadium seating around a central floor. Thousands of aliens had gathered to watch. Cameras floated in the air, recording everything. Taeyang felt his heart racing. He had never been in front of so many people before. Captain Nira stood at the center of the arena. Next to her were the council members and several officials wearing testing equipment. Lysara walked beside Taeyang, her presence somehow comforting. We will now begin the Coalition Physical Assessment, announced one of the council members. His voice echoed through the arena. The subject is Li Taeyang, human from the planet Earth. He will complete 4 standard tests. Let us see what humans are truly capable of. The crowd cheered and shouted. Some voices sounded excited. Others sounded angry. Taeyang took a deep breath. He remembered Minho's advice. Be normal, don't scare anyone. Represent humanity well. The first test platform was prepared. An endurance track, 1 full lap around the arena. 0.3 gravity. Taeyang stepped up to the starting line. Begin, the announcer said. Taeyang started running, and immediately realized he had made a terrible mistake. The gravity felt wrong. Not just light, but impossibly light. Taeyang's first step launched him forward further than he expected. He tried to adjust to slow down, but his body was trained for Earth's gravity. Every movement felt exaggerated and strange. He tried to remember Minho's advice. Run like you're trying, but struggling. But his legs didn't want to struggle. They wanted to run properly, and running properly in this low gravity meant moving fast, very fast. Taeyang crossed the finish line. The timer showed his completion time. The arena went completely silent. He looked at the officials. They were staring at the timer like it had broken. That's impossible, one official muttered. No one finishes that course in under 3 minutes. Did I do something wrong? Taeyang asked, breathing normally. He wasn't even tired. The run had felt like a light jog. You completed the course in 1 minute and 47 seconds, the announcer said slowly into his microphone. That's a new station record. By more than half, the crowd erupted. Some aliens cheered. Others made sounds of disbelief. Taeyang heard the word Death Worlder repeated many times. Leisara stood at the side of the arena, her hand covering her mouth. "I'm sorry," Taeyang said to the officials. "I tried to go slow." "That was slow?" Captain Nira asked. She looked at him with a mix of shock and something that might have been respect. "What would fast look like?" Taeyang didn't answer. He had already made things worse. Now everyone was scared again. The announcer called for the next test, the strength assessment. They brought out a large crate. The official measurement displayed on a screen showed it weighed 22 kilograms. "Please lift the crate from the floor to the platform," the announcer instructed. "You may take as much time as you need." Taeyang approached the crate. He remembered Minho's advice. Use both hands. Make it look difficult. Grunt a little. Act like it's heavy. He bent down and gripped the crate with both hands. He lifted it, making sure to move slowly. He even added a small grunt for effect. The crate rose from the floor to the platform, which was about chest height. He set it down carefully. "Complete," the announcer said. "Time taken 4 seconds, 4 seconds. Was that fast?" Taeyang couldn't tell. The crowd was murmuring but not shouting. Maybe this test went better. Then one of the officials checked the recording. "Wait," she said. "Replay the video." They showed the lift on the large screens around the arena. Taeyang watched himself lift the crate. Everything looked normal to him. But then the official froze the video at 1 frame. He lifted it with his left hand only, she pointed out. His right hand barely touched the crate. "Look at the angle." "All the weight was on the left arm!" The crowd gasped. Taeyang's heart sank. He had tried to use both hands. He really had. But his body was so used to lifting cargo that one hand had done all the work without him realizing it. "And here," another official said, pointing at the screen. "Look at his legs. They're straight." He didn't bend his knees much. He didn't brace his core. He just stood up with 22 kilograms like it was an empty box. "I did struggle," Taeyang protested weakly. "I was trying." "If that's trying," Captain Nira said, "what does easy look like for you?" They moved to the third test, the reaction time assessment. Lights would flash in random patterns, and Taeyang had to press buttons that matched the colors. The test measured how fast he could react and process information. This one will be better, Taeyang thought. I can't fake slow reactions, but at least I can't accidentally break anything. The test began. Lights flashed. Red, blue, green, yellow. Taeyang pressed the buttons. It felt like a simple game. Not challenging at all. The lights got faster. He kept pressing. Faster still. He kept going. His hands moved quickly, but it didn't feel fast to him. It felt normal. The test ended. The officials gathered around the machine. They talked quietly, checking the readings multiple times. "What's wrong?" Taeyang asked. "Nothing is wrong with the machine," one official said. "That's what concerns us. According to these readings, your average reaction time is 0.15 seconds. Is that bad?" Taeyang asked. "The average coalition species has a reaction time of 0.4 seconds, the official explained. Trained security personnel reach about 0.3 seconds. You're 3 times faster than our best guards." The crowd was no longer cheering or booing. They just stared in silent shock. Taeyang felt like an animal in a zoo. "Everyone watching, everyone judging, everyone afraid. Last test," the announcer said, his voice less confident now. The survival scenario. They led Taeyang to a sealed chamber. Inside was a simulated environment. The temperature was set to 35 degrees Celsius. There was high humidity and bright lights simulating intense sun. For a coalition species, this was considered a dangerous heat scenario. "You must remain in the environment for 10 minutes, the announcer explained. "You may wear a protective suit, or you may decline the suit if you feel confident. Most candidates use the suit." Taeyang looked at the suit they offered. It was bulky and had cooling systems built in. He thought about Minho's advice. Don't take off your protection. Don't look comfortable, but 35 degrees. With humidity, that was just a normal summer day in Korea. Maybe a bit uncomfortable, but not dangerous. If he wore the suit, he would overheat from the suit itself, not from the environment. "I'll go without the suit," Taeyang said. Gasps came from the crowd. "Are you certain?" the official asked. "This is a hazardous environment simulation." "I'm certain," Taeyang said. He was tired of pretending, tired of acting weak. If everyone was going to be afraid anyway, he might as well be honest. He entered the chamber. The door sealed behind him. The heat hit him immediately. It was warm, definitely warm. The humidity made it sticky. Taeyang felt sweat forming on his skin. But it wasn't unbearable. It was just weather. Through the clear walls, he could see the crowd watching. He could see Lysara standing with Ambassador Yuna. Both looked worried. He could see the officials monitoring his vital signs on screens. His heart rate is elevated, one official announced. Breathing is increased, but stable. No signs of distress. Taeyang stood in the center of the chamber. He tried to look uncomfortable. He wiped sweat from his forehead. He shifted his weight like the heat was bothering him. But truthfully, he had been in worse heat than this. Summer in Seoul could be brutal. 5 minutes passed, then 7, then 9. The officials kept announcing his vital signs, which remained stable. The crowd watched in complete silence. At 10 minutes, the test ended. The chamber opened. Taeyang walked out. He was sweaty and warm, but fine. Medical personnel rushed to check him immediately. "How do you feel?" a doctor asked, scanning him with medical equipment. "Hot," Taeyang said honestly. "And tired. But okay. Your core temperature increased by only 0.5 degrees, the doctor announced in disbelief. In that environment, most species would increase by 3 or 4 degrees. Your body adapted almost immediately. Your sweat response is incredibly efficient." The crowd erupted again. This time the sounds were different. Fear, yes, but also awe, confusion, wonder. Taeyang heard arguments breaking out in the stands. Some aliens were shouting that humans should be banned. Others were shouting that humans were amazing. Taeyang walked to the center of the arena. He was tired. Not physically tired from the test, but emotionally tired from the whole situation. He looked up at the thousands of aliens watching him. He looked at the cameras broadcasting to millions more across the galaxy. "I need to say something," Taeyang said quietly to the announcer. The announcer hesitated, then handed him the microphone. The arena fell silent. Everyone waited. Taeyang took a breath. "I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking I'm dangerous. You're thinking humans are too strong, too fast, too resilient. You're scared." He paused. "And I understand. If I saw someone do what I just did, I would be scared too." He looked around the arena, making eye contact with as many aliens as he could. "But I need you to understand something. I'm not special among humans. I'm average. I'm nobody important. Back home there are people much stronger than me. Much faster. Much tougher. There are humans who climb mountains for fun. Humans who swim in freezing water. Humans who run for hours without stopping." The crowd murmured. Some sounded frightened. But Taeyang continued. "Earth made us this way, not because we wanted to be strong, but because we had to be strong to survive. Our planet is harsh.
It's dangerous.
Every day our bodies fight battles we don't even notice. Against gravity. Against bacteria. Against weather. Against everything." He felt his voice getting stronger. "But you know what else Earth taught us? It taught us to care for each other. Because the planet was so dangerous, humans had to work together. We had to build communities. We had to help the weak and protect the young. We had to create art and music and stories to give ourselves hope." Taeyang pointed to the pictures of his family on the large screen. The officials had displayed them earlier as part of his file. "That's my mother. She gardens because it makes her happy. That's my sister. She wants to study alien plants because she thinks they're beautiful. That's my friend. He climbs rocks because he loves the challenge." He lowered the microphone slightly. "We're not monsters. We're not weapons. We're just people who come from a hard place and learn to be gentle anyway. Yes, we're strong." The next 3 days were chaos. Taeyang's speech and demonstration had been broadcast across hundreds of systems. The reactions were immediate and divided. Some species praised his honesty. Others demanded immediate action against humans. The Galactic Council held emergency sessions. Protests continued outside the station, though now they were mixed between anti-human and pro-human groups. Taeyang stayed in his quarters. He watched the news feeds from his device, seeing his face on every channel. The commentary ranged from scientific analysis of human biology to political debates about coalition membership to wild speculation about Earth's military capabilities. "You've become famous," Lysara said during one of her visits. She brought him meals regularly now, always carefully chosen to be safe for human consumption. The most talked about being in the galaxy. "I didn't want to be famous," Taeyang said. He was lying on his bed staring at the ceiling. "I just wanted to deliver cargo and go home." "I know," Lysara said gently. She sat in her usual chair, though she no longer kept maximum distance. Over the past days, she had slowly moved closer. Now they could have conversations at a normal distance. But sometimes we don't get to choose our role in history. Have you seen the news? Taiyang asked. Half the galaxy thinks I'm a hero. The other half thinks I'm a threat. There are conspiracy theories that Earth is planning an invasion. Some people think humans are lying about being peaceful. Others think we should be recruited as soldiers. And what do you think? Lisara asked. I think everyone is missing the point, Taiyang said with frustration. We're not heroes or villains. We're just people. Why is that so hard to understand? Lisara was quiet for a moment. Because accepting that you're just people means accepting that the galaxy isn't as safe as we thought. If a normal human can do what you did, if every person on Earth is like you, then we have to rethink everything. Our security, our military, our place in the universe. That's frightening. A knock came at the door. Ambassador Yuna entered with Captain Nira. Both looked tired. The past days had been difficult for everyone. We need to talk about next steps, Yuna said, sitting down without asking. The council has made some decisions. Am I being deported? Taiyang asked. No, Yuna said. Actually, it's more complicated. The council has decided that humans will remain full members of the coalition. No travel restrictions, no special rules. We're being treated the same as any other species. No, that's good, right? Taiyang asked. Yes and no, Captain Nira said. The decision came with recommendations. Educational programs about Deathworlders, better information sharing about human capabilities, and they want you to be part of it. Me? Taiyang sat up. What do I have to do with educational programs? They want you to be a liaison, Yuna explained. Travel to different stations and planets. Meet with various species. Help them understand humans. Show them that we're not threats. I'm not a diplomat, Taiyang protested. I'm a cargo pilot. You're the human who stood in front of the galaxy and spoke from the heart, Yuna said. You're relatable. You're honest. You're exactly what we need. I don't want to do it, Taiyang said firmly. I want to go home. I understand, Yuna said. And you can. This is a request, not an order. But I want you to think about it. Right now, there are millions of humans on Earth who want to explore space. Scientists, artists, teachers, families. They're waiting to see if the galaxy will accept them. Your decision affects all of them. After Yuna and Nira left, Taiyang sat in silence. Lisara remained, as she often did now. She had become something like a friend. The only person on the station who treated him normally. What would you do? Taiyang asked her. I can't answer that, Lisara said. My circumstances are different. But I can tell you what I see. I see someone who has the ability to build bridges. Someone who already changed one mind. She pointed to herself. You changed mine. I was terrified of you. Now I bring you lunch and we talk about our families. If you can do that for other, it's a lot of pressure, Taiyang said. Yes, Lisara agreed. But important things usually are. Over the next day, Taiyang received messages from home. His mother sent a video. She was in her garden, surrounded by flowers. I saw your speech, Jiwoo said warmly. I'm so proud of you. You spoke like a true son of Earth. Whatever you decide to do next, we support you. His sister Nari sent a long message. She talked about how his demonstration had inspired her. I want to study alien biology even more now, she wrote. Because of you, maybe I'll actually get the chance. Thank you, brother. Even Doyen sent something. A short video of him doing a mock speech, imitating Taiyang's words but making silly faces. Then he got serious. Do what makes you happy, man. But also you're kind of a hero now. That's pretty cool. That evening, something unexpected happened. There was a commotion outside his quarters. Taiyang heard raised voices and running footsteps. He went to the door just as guards rushed past. What's happening? He called out. One guard stopped. Emergency in the commercial district. Structural collapse. People are trapped. Without thinking, Taiyang followed. He ran through the corridors, following the sounds of sirens and shouting. Guards tried to stop him, but he was faster. He reached the commercial district and saw the problem immediately. A large section of ceiling had collapsed. Debris covered the floor. Several aliens were trapped under metal beams and broken panels. Emergency crews were already there, but they were struggling. The debris was too heavy for their equipment. Taiyang didn't hesitate. He ran forward and grabbed the largest beam. It was massive, easily weighing several hundred kilograms. He lifted, his muscles strained. His back protested. But the beam rose! Get them out! He shouted. Emergency crews rushed in and pulled out 3 injured aliens. Taeyang held the beam steady, his arms shaking from the weight. Not because it was too heavy, but because he had to hold it carefully without dropping it suddenly. Once the aliens were clear, Taeyang slowly lowered the beam. He moved to the next section of debris. More trapped people. He lifted panels and pushed broken equipment aside. His hands got cut on sharp metal. His clothes got torn. But he kept working. Captain Nira arrived with security forces. She started to order Taeyang to stop, then saw what he was doing. She watched as he lifted debris that would have taken 3 crew members with equipment to move. She saw him being gentle despite his strength, careful not to cause more collapses. "Help him," Nira ordered her team. "Clear the smaller debris while he handles the heavy pieces." They worked together. Taeyang lifted. The crews cleared. Medical teams treated the injured. Within 20 minutes, everyone was rescued. Taeyang stood in the middle of the wreckage, breathing hard, bleeding from several cuts covered in dust. The rescued aliens stared at him. One was a small child, probably no more than 5 years old and their species aging. The child's parent held them close, looking at Taeyang with wide eyes. "Thank you," the parent whispered. "You saved my child." Taeyang knelt down, making himself smaller and less threatening. He smiled at the child. "Are you okay?" The child nodded shyly. Then, to everyone's surprise, the child reached out and touched Taeyang's hand. The small fingers looked tiny against his palm. "You're strong," the child said in a small voice. Like a hero. Taeyang felt his eyes getting wet. "I'm just a person," he said gently. "Anyone would have helped." "No," the parent said firmly. "Not anyone could have done what you did. You're a death worlder. You could have stayed safe. But you came anyway. You risked yourself for strangers." The crowd that had gathered began to murmur. Aliens who had watched the rescue were talking quietly. Taeyang heard their conversations. He saved them. Did you see how careful he was, despite his strength? A human helped us. Captain Nira approached Taeyang. "That was foolish," she said. "You could have been hurt, or you could have accidentally hurt someone else." "But I didn't," Taeyang replied simply. "No," Nira agreed. "You didn't. You were controlled and precise. You used your abilities to help, not harm." She paused. "Just like you promised in your speech." The news of the rescue spread quickly. Within hours, it was on every feed alongside the demonstration footage. But this time, the commentary was different. This time, people weren't just talking about how strong humans were. They were talking about how Taeyang had used that strength. Lisara visited that evening while medical personnel treated his cuts. "You can't help yourself, can you?" she said with a small smile. "You see people in trouble and you just have to help. Wouldn't you do the same?" Taeyang asked. "If I could, yes," Lisara said. "But I couldn't have lifted those beams. Most beings in the galaxy couldn't, only you could. And you did." She sat down next to him, closer than ever before. "I think I understand now what humans really are. You're not just survivors. You're protectors. Your planet made you strong, but you chose to be kind. That's the real story." That night, Taeyang made his decision. He contacted Ambassador Yuna. "I'll do it," he said. "I'll be a liaison. I'll travel and meet people and try to help them understand humans. But on one condition." "What condition?" Yuna asked. "Lisara comes with me," Taeyang said. "She understands both sides." She was afraid and became a friend. "If I'm going to explain humans to aliens, I need an alien who can explain aliens to me." Yuna smiled. "I think that can be arranged." 6 months had passed since the demonstration. Taeyang and Lisara had traveled to 12 different stations and 5 planets. Each visit was the same pattern. Nervous aliens watching a human arrive. Initial fear. Careful conversations. Slow understanding. Sometimes it went well. Sometimes it didn't. But each time they made progress. They were on Station Kepler 9, a mid-sized hub near the border territories. Taeyang was scheduled to speak at a cultural center. But first there was another event. A special ceremony for the victims of an attack that had happened 2 weeks earlier. The Purity Front, the anti-human radical group, had escalated from protests to violence. They had bombed a human-alien cultural exchange event on Station Kepler 9. 7 people had been injured. Among them was a young human student named Somin and a Valari teacher. The teacher had shielded Somin from the blast, saving the girl's life but suffering severe injuries herself. Taeyang and Lisara attended the memorial ceremony. The Valari teacher's name was Lyra. She was a friend of Lysara from their university days. When Lysara saw Lyra in the hospital bed, covered in bandages and healing equipment, she broke down crying. "I'm so sorry," Lysara whispered, holding her friend's hand. "This happened because of hate. Because of fear." "No," Lyra said weakly. Her voice was rough from the injuries. "This happened because some people choose violence. But I chose protection. I would make the same choice again." Soman was in the room too, visiting with her parents. The young girl was physically unhurt but shaken. When she saw Taeyang, her eyes went wide. "You're the human from the videos," she said. "The one who gave the speech." "Yes," Taeyang said, kneeling down to her level. "Are you okay?" Soman nodded. Then she pointed at Lyra. "She saved me. She's a hero." "She is," Taeyang agreed. He looked at Lyra with deep respect. "Thank you for protecting her." "That's what we do," Lyra said simply. "That's what any good person does, human or alien." After leaving the hospital, Taeyang felt his anger building. The Purity Front had hurt innocent people. They had hurt someone who was literally protecting a child. How could anyone justify that? "I want to respond," Taeyang told Ambassador Yuna. "I want to make a statement." "Are you sure?" Yuna asked carefully. "Responding might make you a bigger target." "I don't care," Taeyang said. "Lyra almost died protecting a human child. That story needs to be told. People need to know that this isn't about humans versus aliens. It's about good people versus violent extremists." That evening, Taeyang held a press conference. News crews from dozens of systems attended. The room was packed with reporters, all eager to hear what the famous human liaison would say about the attack. Taeyang stood at the podium. Lysara stood beside him, showing her support. He took a breath and began speaking. 2 weeks ago, terrorists attacked a cultural event, Taeyang said. His voice was steady but filled with emotion. "They did this because they believe humans are dangerous. They believe we don't belong in the coalition. They believe fear and violence are acceptable responses to differences." He paused, letting the words sink in. "But they're wrong, and I can prove it with one story. A Valari teacher named Lyra saw a bomb. She saw a human child in danger, and without hesitation she threw herself between the blast and that child. She didn't think about species. She didn't think about what planet anyone came from. She thought about protecting an innocent life." Taeyang's voice grew stronger. "That's what real courage looks like. That's what real kindness looks like. Not violence. Not hate, not fear. A person from one world risking everything to save a person from another world. Because that's what good beings do." He looked directly at the cameras. "To the Purity Front and anyone who supports them, you're not protecting anyone. You're not making the galaxy safer. You're making it smaller. You're making it crueler. You're proving that fear can turn anyone into monsters regardless of what planet they're from." The room was completely silent. Reporters hung on every word. "I've spent 6 months traveling," Taeyang continued. "I've met hundreds of species. I've learned so many things. And you know what I've learned most of all? Kindness isn't human. Bravery isn't Valari. Compassion isn't specific to any one planet or people. These things are universal. They exist everywhere in every species." He gestured to Lysara. "This is my friend. She was terrified of me when we first met. She had every reason to be scared. But she chose understanding over fear. She chose friendship over prejudice. She chose to see me as a person, not as data on a screen." Lysara stepped forward. "When I first met Taeyang," she said, her voice musical but firm, "I collapsed crying. I was so scared that I couldn't even stand. I thought about my friends who died on a death world. I thought about how dangerous humans must be." She turned to face Taeyang. "But then I got to know him. I learned about his family, his life, his dreams. I realized he wasn't dangerous because he wanted to be. He was just someone born on a harsh planet who learned to survive and stay kind anyway." Looking back at the cameras, Lysara continued. "The real danger isn't Deathworlders. The real danger is people who let fear control them. People who respond to differences with violence instead of curiosity. The Purity Front represents everything wrong with blind prejudice." Taeyang and Lysara answered questions for another hour. Some questions were hostile. Some were supportive. But they answered honestly, showing that humans and aliens could work together, understand each other, and support each other. The next day, something unexpected happened. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. They had reviewed the attack and the response. More importantly, They had seen the overwhelming public support for Taiyang and Lisara's message. The council voted to officially classify the Purity Front as a terrorist organization. They increased security at human-alien events. They expanded educational programs about Deathworlders and other misunderstood species. And they created a new position, Ambassador for Interspecies Understanding. They offered the position to Taiyang and Lisara together, a partnership, a human and an alien working as one unit to promote understanding across the galaxy. This is insane, Taiyang said when he heard the news. 6 months ago I was just delivering cargo. Now I'm being offered an ambassadorship. Life changes quickly, Lisara said with a smile. What do you think? Should we accept? Do you want to? Taiyang asked. Lisara thought for a moment. A year ago I was a clerk at a checkpoint. I was traumatized and scared. I saw Deathworlders as nightmares. Now I have a friend from a Class 12 planet. I've learned more about the galaxy in 6 months than I did in my entire education. Yes, I want to accept. Then we accept, Taiyang said. They spent the next 3 months in intensive training, learning diplomatic protocols, studying different cultures, planning initiatives to bring species together. It was hard work, but they were good at it. They balanced each other perfectly. Taiyang provided the human perspective and honest emotion. Lisara provided the alien perspective and cultural knowledge. Their first major project was called the Bridge Initiative. It was a program that paired humans with aliens for cultural exchange. Students, workers, families would spend time living in each other's worlds, experiencing each other's normal, building understanding through direct connection. The program started small. 20 participants, 10 humans and 10 aliens. They spent 3 months together learning and growing. Some pairings were awkward at first. Cultural misunderstandings happened, but slowly friendships formed. One pairing was particularly successful. A human named Junho, a construction worker, was paired with a small alien named Pick from a low-gravity world. Pick was amazed by Junho's strength. Junho was amazed by Pick's ability to calculate complex mathematics instantly. They learned that their differences made them a perfect team. I can lift heavy things, Junho said in one interview, but Pick can design buildings that are stronger and more beautiful than anything I could imagine alone. Together, we're better than we are separately. This became the motto of the Bridge Initiative. Together, we're better. A year after the demonstration, Taiyang and Lisara returned to Meridian Hub. It was a special anniversary. The station was holding a celebration of human-alien cooperation. Thousands attended, including Captain Nira, Ambassador Yuna, Lieutenant Minho, and many others who had been part of Taeyang's journey. Lyra was there too, fully recovered from her injuries. Solman and her parents came to thank her again. The young girl gave Lyra a drawing she had made. It showed a Valari and a human holding hands under a sky full of stars. That's us, Sumin explained. That's the galaxy we want to live in. As the celebration continued, Taiyang and Lisara found a quiet moment together. They stood at an observation deck watching ships come and go from the station. It was the same place where Taiyang had first arrived, full of confusion and fear. Do you ever think about that day? Lisara asked quietly. When you handed me your identification? All the time, Taiyang admitted. I was so confused. I had no idea why you were crying. I thought maybe I had done something wrong. You did do something wrong, Lisara said with a small smile. You challenged everything I thought I knew. You forced me to confront my fears. That was very inconvenient, Taiyang laughed. I'm sorry for the inconvenience.